So, yeah, I did actually see this. This happened yesterday. Ubisoft, you know what? I'm actually going to do something that people don't do. I'm going to read the context in what the guy said about people not owning games. Because, like, I never really read the context. We're going to read the context and see why he said this. Let's listen to what the guy actually said. There's a lot of debate around subscription in video games. Today, the business model is the dominant way of paying for TV. You mean subscriptions, right? Business model paying for TV, film, and music. But that's currently not the case in this industry. So he's talking about subscriptions being the norm in like TV and music, but not with video games. True. Games are typically much longer, and many of them are free or feature some other form of monetization, and AAA publishers have argued that the numbers just don't add up. Nevertheless, Ubisoft is seeing growth in this sector. Tremblay says with October this year was the biggest month in Ubisoft Plus history. Well, I mean, we don't really... Do we really need a fucking... I could have told you this. Obviously, this is true. How do you know this? Because look at the... What do you call it? Look at Game Pass. Game Pass is massive. I think everybody knows it. The point is not to force users to go down one route or another. We offer purchase, we offer subscription, and it's the gamer's preference that's important here. We're seeing people who buy choosing to subscribe now, but it all works. Okay. It's proving to be a way for gamers to access our worlds who perhaps weren't inclined to purchase. These players are brand new. Okay. The subscription question remains around a potential of subscription model in games. Tremblay says there is tremendous opportunity for growth, but what is going to take the subscription to step up and become a more significant portion of the industry? Okay, so this is the part that he said that was contentious. We're seeing an expansion on console as the likes of PlayStation and Xbox bring new people in. On PC, from a Ubisoft standpoint, it's already been great, but we're looking to reach out more on PC, so we see an opportunity there. One of the things that we saw is that gamers are used to, a little bit like DVDs, having and owning their games. That's the consumer shift that needs to happen. They got comfortable not owning their CD collection or DVD collection. That's a transformation that's been a bit slower to happen in games. As gamers grow comfortable in that aspect, you don't lose your progress. If you resume the game at another time, your progress file is still there. That's not being deleted. You don't lose what you built in the game or the engagement with the game. So it's about feeling comfortable with not owning your game. I still have boxes of DVDs. I definitely understand the gamer's perspective with that. But as people embrace the model, they'll see that these games will exist, the service will continue, and you'll be able to access them when you feel like. That's reassuring. Well, here's the problem, though, right? So this is the problem. And I think this is the reason why people think this, is because this is like maybe a few months ago. Like, people forgot about this, but like I didn't. I remember immediately. This was Ubisoft was in the news 7 months ago for this exact thing. This happened. And so that's the reason why people feel this way. Streaming as a distribution model method appears to lend itself to subscription model, although currently remains very niche corner of the business. It's very niche? Doesn't Game Pass have 20 million users? That's a lot. When you're in a good city with good internet and friends, it's fantastic, but it's not the case for everyone. The NVIDIA experience... So... we acquired the streaming rights to Activision Blizzard games. The firm plans to add these games into Ubisoft Plus in the future. Ads whenever we publish a game. First thing you need to do is stream it and play it a couple of minutes. I don't have to download it. I can jump right in. Streaming enables fast discovery. So, here's the truth. This guy's statement wasn't as bad as it seemed. Like, this really wasn't that bad. And I think that he was talking about it. He wasn't talking about it in the context that gamers need to do this. He was saying that in order for this to be popular, gamers need to do it. Which is a very different structuring of the words. And I think that the original headline was a bit misleading. After reading the intent and what this person said, I find this to be mildly misleading. It is not A to B, but it's a capital A when it was really just a lowercase a. He's still making the same point? Well, no, he's not, because he's making that point on the foundation of a theoretical that this needs to happen. He's saying, if this is to happen, that needs this to happen. So he's created a theoretical universe and then said what would need to happen in that theoretical universe for it to occur. I don't think that's a bad take. That's not wrong. I think he's right. Honestly, I agree with him. You know what? I do too. I do. Sven is right. Look what he says. Whatever the future of games looks like, content will always be king, but it's going to be a lot harder to get good content if subscription becomes the dominant model and a select group gets to decide what goes to market and what does not. Direct from developer to players is the way. So he's making an argument, and this is a great argument, I completely fucking agree with it, that whenever you have something, because this is a huge problem with like media. I think media is the first example that you can see that really kind of has been proven that this is problematic for. So right now with media is completely democratized. Is he live right now? Hassan is live right now. And he is streaming politics. Is he being employed by Fox News? Is he given a position on CNN? Is he on MSNBC? No, he's not. He is starting his own independent news that he covers what he chooses to cover, and there is nobody controlling the distribution of that news. And what a beautiful thing that is. Isn't it a great thing that one person who wants to talk about the news can do that and not have to worry about being gatekept by George fucking Soros and Rupert Murdoch? I think that's a great thing. And I think this about Alex Jones, too. I think it about the Young Turks. I think this about, I don't know, like, which other ones, like, other big publishing places, like ABC News, Propaganda. Yeah, Channel 5, Philip DeFranco, Daily Wire, the Young Turks, fucking Tucker Carlson, Steven Crowder. It is a beautiful thing that they are able to go out and distribute their message to the public, and the people who want to receive it can listen. What an incredible thing that is. I think that's amazing. And Sven brings up an incredibly good point that if you move towards all subscription model, you run into the problem that cable had, where they become gatekeepers. In the same way that, do you remember yesterday how we talked about how the Coffin of Andy and Laylee got banned in Australia? Well, what happens if it gets banned on Game Pass? And Game Pass is the main way to play games. That's a big fucking problem, isn't it? And so, yeah, I think that he brings up a really good point with distribution. And it actually, to be honest, like it's an argument against subscriptions, but it's not really an argument against what the guy said about subscriptions, right? It's like, he's like, oh, why don't people like subscriptions? So why do people not like subscriptions? Let me explain it. Let's actually write it out. Holy fuck, where'd all these come from? Oh my God. Oh yeah, I remember this. I was like, yeah, what is this? What are these chat logs? These are all my other ones leaked. No, this was a document that I created to give feedback for Atomic Picnic for the developers. And I actually took specific messages from you guys that you gave me on stream, and I sent them directly to the developers. And like, these are like some opinions that I had about that. You know, enemy weak points are a great idea. You know, I think this guy's a great point. I'm not sure how I would apply it in this way. Yeah, and so that's, you know, like, again, I own a publishing company, and so every once in a while I actually do some work. And so let's see here. We'll make a new notepad document. So let's see here. Why people are apprehensive about games subscriptions. Number one, games subscriptions is used often synonymously, interchangeably. Like I really don't know how to spell synonymously, so I just use another word. Interchangeably with game streaming. And the public has a negative perception on games streaming because of input lag. So this is number one. People view having like a game subscription to actually streaming a game. And the guy from Ubisoft said that actually in the article where he was being interviewed. So the problem is that having a subscription to playing a video game, like Google Stadia, was not a bad idea. Google Stadia was too early of an idea. Give me 1 second. My dad's calling me. All right. Okay, you're on stream. They can hear you.
Oh, okay. We'll start with the first line. 2 P's in apprehensive. And game subscriptions, not games subscriptions.
No, game subscriptions. Like, I'm talking about video games.
I know you are.
Oh, games.
Yeah. One of them is plural and the other one isn't.
Yeah.
Same with the first line. Top line above.
Yeah.
Okay. As often used, and you didn't know how to spell interchangeably either. Inter.
Like that?
Yeah.
Right.
No, yeah. And game subscriptions is?
Game streaming.
Game subscriptions are. Look.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah.
Games streaming again below.
Games.
Third line.
How's it look?
Okay. That's better. I won't call you on the Columbia comma there after streaming, because that's cool. You know, it's informal.
Yeah, okay, great.
I just can't stand to see that shit, especially when you said about interchangeably you want to choose a word you could spell. That was great. And then you spelled it fucking wrong.
Remember how I used to go to Chuck E. Cheese every single time I got an A on a spelling test? Yeah, I don't remember going to Chuck E. Cheese either.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. You learned from your mom. It was like the Rendezvous is.
Oh, instead of rendezvous, right? Of course.
Yeah, a big fucking name on the ship.
Okay. All right. Were we still having dinner today?
Yeah. I was gonna ask you. You came on so fucking late.
I know. I did. I figure I'll be over in like maybe a bit over an hour. Is that good? What are you thinking?
Meeting at 7:30, 7:45?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, we want to be able to...
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Okay.
All right, cool. I'll talk to you then.
Okay, I'll try not to bother you too much, but I mean, I just had to get you on the inner subscriptions after you said you picked one you knew how to spell.
Yeah. Well, you know, that's what I thought. All right. Well, I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Yo, bye.
Go. Bye-bye.
My dad was a college professor and an executive at a publishing company. Specialized in language arts and grammar and English. I've been dealing with this my whole life. So, I think this is the... this is basically... this is the main reason, right, why people don't use game subscriptions. This is it, though, right? Very colorful language. Yes, clearly. Still don't stick. I mean, I'm not a, usually you got the red squiggly, right? I mean, there it is. Sub doesn't make sense at all. If I want to play a game 1,000 hours over 5 years, that's 60 months of sub, and it could be $600, while buying the game would be $40 on sale. I think that it really depends on the way that people want to consume games. And I don't think that these things have to cannibalize each other at all. I think the truth is that you have a lot of people that love having Xbox Game Pass because they are casual game players. They're going to play every new game for 3 hours. And then the next day, they play a new game for 3 more hours. And that's really it. That's all there was to it. And that's totally it's a totally fine thing. It's not a bad thing. But what I'm saying is that those are the people that something like an Xbox Game Pass or Ubisoft Plus is really designed for. But to say that the entire market has to move over to that, I think doesn't really make a lot of sense, because you're right. There are a lot of people who play one game for like 6 months. And maybe they play one other game, and that's a free-to-play game like Fortnite or something like that. So for them, it doesn't really make sense for them to pay for a subscription, because you kind of feel stupid. Like, how many of you guys feel kind of stupid? You only want to watch The Mandalorian, but you're subscribing to Disney Plus? I don't give a fuck about any of the other stuff on Disney Plus. I just want to watch The Mandalorian. Right? And I feel like a lot of you guys, yeah, there it is. And there's like other examples that are very similar to that. Like HBO Go is like that for Game of Thrones for me. Well, actually, to be fair, I was using my friend's account. But, the same thing is the same, right? It's the same. Mandalorian fell hard. Oh, I don't know about that. I'm just talking about, like, people feel like they have to buy it. And so I think you can feel like you are wasting your money by doing that. The goal is to encourage you to watch other stuff and get sucked into their ecosystem. Yeah, and I think that's a great thing. I think that's good. Like, I am a Game Pass supporter and a Game Pass enjoyer. But at the same time, I can see why, obviously, people want to be able to buy and own a game too. Media releases content based on subscription timeframes too. It's all connected. And this is something that Sven obviously probably... he actually did follow-ups to this. Let's read the rest of what he said. And again, this is the guy who is literally... Is he the CEO, owner of Larian that made Baldur's Gate 3? Getting aboard to OK a project fueled by idealism is almost impossible, and idealism needs room to exist, even if it can lead to disaster. That's right. He's talking about the day before. Subscription models will always end up being cost-benefit analysis exercises intended to maximize profit. True. There's nothing wrong. And recently, Baldur's Gate 3 came to Xbox, but it did not come to Xbox Game Pass. Because he's like, bro, like, we spent fucking 10 years on this shit. Like, you can at least give us, like, $60, right? I mean, come on. And I think that makes sense, right? For a lot of games. I think that Game Pass also really... Game Pass... Yeah, you're going to have like, the big games that come out, like Starfield. And, I think that Liza P was on Game Pass as well. But, like, what Game Pass is really great at is giving people the ability to play a game that came out 4 years ago. It came out 9 years ago. And you can just try it out. Oh, I always heard people talking about this game. I'm going to just try it out. And that's great. And niche games, yeah, too. You're right about that. Aren't devs losing money with Game Pass? I don't think that there's I think there are some devs that are losing money. Like, for example, I bet Bethesda lost money with Game Pass, and I bet Xbox paid them a massive premium to put their game on Game Pass. And I bet PlayStation does the same thing. Like, the reason why God of War is only on PlayStation is because PlayStation paid Santa Monica Studios millions of dollars for that to be the case. That's the reason. They own the studio. Well, there it is, right? I mean, I guess that's kind of a little bit different, but either way, I actually didn't know that. I'm glad I know that now. I didn't know that Sony actually owns Santa Monica Studio. That's crazy. But either way, Xbox owns Bethesda. Well, what I'm saying is that, like, these games, obviously, like, they don't own From Software. But I bet there is a reason that probably there is probably I would say like 9-figure reason, maybe 10-figure reason why Bloodborne isn't on PC or any other platform. And it's because Sony probably paid From Software a ridiculous amount of money to keep it exclusive inside of the Sony ecosystem. That's the truth. It's not different. Yeah, blowing Blockbuster and renting a game from years ago. If you liked it, you bought it. If you didn't, you completed it, you usually get that much money. Yeah. Game board project. There's nothing wrong with that, but it may become a monopoly of subscription services. We're already all dependent on a select group of digital distribution platforms, and discoverability is brutal. Should those platforms all switch to subscription, it'll become savage. And this is why, for example, like, I like playing small games. Like, every time that I play a game, like, I also want to say, guys, I didn't talk about this a lot, but I talked to somebody from Pal World, and they got me a key to play the game. I started my stream late today because of some bullshit, but I will be playing the game pretty much. I want to play it all day tomorrow. That's my plan. Yeah, I'm going to be playing it all day tomorrow, and exploring and figuring out what the game has to offer. So that's the plan. And whenever I played a game, like, for example, I don't know. Like, I mean, Remnant's a pretty big game. Like V Rising, people watched me play the game, then they tried the game. Hollow Cure, Halls of Torment. Is there, like, maybe Death Must Die? Like, some of these games that I played, Coffin, Vandy, and Lily, like, these are small games, and whenever I play the game and people see that and then they play the game, that is fulfilling to me. That feels good. That's awesome whenever that happens. So I want that to be the case. Last night's stream was awesome. Yeah. Hollow Knight? Well, that game was huge before I even played it, right? Let's see here. In a world, by definition, the preference of subscription service will determine what games get made. Trust me, you really don't want that. TLDR, you won't find our games on a subscription service, even if I respect that for many developers it presents an opportunity to make their game. Yeah, I think that... So here is probably the best example of whenever I really, really realized how much subscription service and long-term games are harmed by having this type of thinking, like subscription-based thinking. Monster Hunter. I want to get a mantle for my weapon. I want to make a new weapon. Okay, I just go farm the mantle. Is this a 17-hour investment? No. You just go get it. And also with Elden Ring as well. And I want to compare, for some people, yeah, you can get really unlucky, but like in general, it's much faster. And what I'm saying is that, like, why is it that grinding for something in Monster Hunter or grinding for something in Elden Ring feels better and is faster to do? Because it is not in the game's financial best interest to make it take longer. The focus is on making a fulfilling experience, not filling an experience. Not wasting your time. So, like, you have all these 1% drop chance items in, like, World of Warcraft, and I think to myself, how many hours of my life have I spent farming something that just has an arbitrarily low drop chance for no reason? And the reason why is because they want you to keep playing the game. It's in their best interest to keep extremely low drop rates. Every moment's a purpose. Yeah, exactly. Are they live service games that feel as good as Monster Hunter grind-wise? Live service games that feel as good as Monster Hunter. People might not... this isn't always true. But in a big case for me, Lost Ark was like that. But, like, I also played the game a lot. And the reason why Lost Ark felt that way to me, is because the progression had, like, a universal value. Like, whenever I did something, I got a masterpiece, I unlocked talent points or something like that. It always felt like it was for a goal. But again, there are also really stupid things with Lost Ark too. Modding live service games is nearly impossible to do. Yeah, for sure. I hate that shit. The vast majority of collectibles and loot should be damn near guaranteed, given you complete the content. Well, Final Fantasy XIV has a really good system of dealing with that. They have something called totems, I think they're called. And if you kill a boss a certain amount of times and you don't get the item, you just get a totem, and then you can turn in enough of them, and then you just get whatever item you want from the boss. So I think that's good. Games don't respect your time anymore. They don't. And the reason why they don't is because of their business model. So again, people think that game streaming is a big reason why this is a problem. Like, I think it's like any subscription service at all. Like, I'll give you, okay, here's an even better example. Here's an example like everybody here knows. YouTube versus Twitch. On Twitch, everybody always drags out the content. Everything is always getting stalled. There's always stalling. On YouTube, there's never stalling. And the reason why is because there's no reason to do it. On Twitch, the best thing to do, and also 10-minute video. Actually, you make such a great example. So it's actually 8-minute video now, by the way. It's not 10. It hasn't been 10 for a long time. But 8-minute video, sure. And why is that? They're stalling in order to have more ads. So your quality of the video, a 6-minute video, is now 10 minutes because they want to fill out space for ads. Do you see kind of what the problem is there? And because of that, your experience watching that video is worse. For example, like if you go and you watch, I'm not going to watch it, but like just as an example, Mark Rober does a video. Every single part of this video is going to be relevant and interesting to the video. Like he'll probably have inside of this some sort of advertisement for those like the teaching kits that he's selling or something like that. But otherwise, he's going to be pretty much all content. It is all content for all 20 minutes. Because his goal is to maximize the amount of time that you spend viewing things. And I'm going to give you another example I just thought of. Have you guys seen the new trend that like these Instagram girls are doing where they'll hold up like, like some skimpy bikini and then at the last second they'll show themselves in the bikini? Have you guys seen that? That's new? Yeah, it's kind of new. Why are they doing that? The reason why they're doing that is because Instagram and TikTok prioritize videos that have a high view duration. So, for example, if you have a 10-second video and the average person watches it for 9 seconds, that video is going to get recommended more than a 10-second video that people watch it on average for 2 seconds. So that's why they sit there and they play the music and they hold it there, because it maximizes the view duration and makes people wait until the end. That's smart. That's just how it is. It's their job. And so if you create a game, people will play the game. So, and this will happen no matter what. So the best thing for a customer is for playing the game to be creating the best experience possible for the user. And subscription models right now are antithetical to that in the way that they're designed. And I've used, like, I think now that I've provided like 4 examples, you can see where I'm coming from, right? So yeah, I definitely think that he brings up a lot of good points.